Welcome back to Digital Deceptions. Today we're breaking down a moment that has set shockwaves through conservative media and apparently triggered a New Year's Eve meltdown from President Donald Trump. It all started on the set of Fox News, where a routine segment on righteousness fury over alleged fraud took an unexpected turn that left MAGA base and Trump himself reeling. The Fox News panel was deep into a segment discussing alleged fraud involving a Minnesota daycare and school lunch program. But then Jessica Tarlov decided to look under the hood. In a rare moment of live fact-checking on the network, Tarlov pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of the conversation. While her fellow hosts were demanding investigations into local daycare centers, Tarlov reminded the audience that Donald Trump and his businesses have been reportedly found liable of massive fraud. I will let you see the footage yourself, and then we'll be right back.
Get incredibly complicated for him, and I'm sure that he and his team are talking about whether he could mount another, I don't want to say challenge because Donald Trump won't be running again, but obviously he's been considering 2028. I think that will be more difficult when something like this has gone on in your state while you were in office, even if you're not personally involved in it. The program that he was talking about that you referenced, Kellyanne, is school lunches, which I've seen no fraud about that kids go to school and they get lunch as they should. Okay. Yes, school lunch is a good thing. Sometimes breakfast too, even. Nick Shirley's reporting there's no way that this kid walking around uncovered $100 million worth of fraud on his own. There have been tons of people working behind the scenes quietly, including independent local journalists that have been exposing this. I don't know about the veracity of every single thing that he's gone and seen. That's being debated online. But obviously there's a huge problem here. It does Democrats no favors to get partisan about this and to dig in and say, oh, it absolutely couldn't be happening because it's my team that this happened to. The argument that it has not been being covered is ludicrous. People don't want to just do simple Google searches. The biggest story about this came from the New York Times, and it made liberals look terrible. That's where Guy was referencing emails from people who worked at Feeding Our Future saying, we're going to call you a bunch of racists. That was published in the New York Times. It wasn't published in a far-right publication. It was published in the Times itself. And this goes back to the Garland DOJ when they started prosecuting all of this. We'll say, lastly, that fraud should be stamped out everywhere. You should take it seriously. And I'm particularly upset, and I've said this a third time, that people took COVID money, abused that while folks were dying, while kids weren't allowed to go to school. The country was completely in uproar, rightly so, people scared out of their minds. But Donald Trump and his administration has not taken fraud seriously. You have Philip Esform, who was the healthcare executive, speaking of healthcare, which is part of this, a nursing home mogul, I didn't even know you could be one, orchestrated the largest healthcare fraud scheme in U.S. history, $1.3 billion, commuted by Trump. David Gentile, the private equity guy, $1.6 billion, he defrauded people. Trump commuted his sentence. And then an oldie but a goodie, obviously Trump University, which had to pay $25 million settlement because it was a scam. Do not go out there and say this is all a liberal problem if you don't want to look under the hood of your own car.
Because this comes at a particular sensitive time for the administration. New revelations regarding the Epstein files, over 1 million pages of documents, have surfaced. There are growing concerns about the redactions of names and the disappearing of photographs potentially linked to Trump, fueling accusations the current White House is covering for co-conspirators rather than the survivors. The takeaway here is simple but devastating. The law and order narrative, as Tarlov boldly stated, if you are only angry about the fraud when it comes to your political opponent, it's not outrage, it's propaganda. The fact that this aired on Fox News is what likely fueled Trump's New Year's Eve freakout. When the vignette of anti-corruption crusade is stripped away, the reality of selective accountability is all that's left. What do you guys think? Is the swamp narrative officially dead, or is this just another witch hunt? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Chris from Digital Deception. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into stories that they don't want you to see. Thank you for being viewers.